Hey guys, what's up? Are you a fan of Pokemon and Dungeons and Dragons? Well, have I got something for you. We're going to be going through all 809 Pokemon on the National Pokédex and making them into monster stat blocks for Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what you're going to use that for, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be one hell of a ride. So basically, to start out, I've broken down types by damage types, Pokemon type to damage type, and I'm kind of working with that, which means some of them are the same damage type, but it'll allow them to have proper weaknesses and resistances. So first, to go down the list here, we got Bug to magical piercing damage, Electric to lightning, obviously, Fire to fire, easy. Grass I put as magical bludgeoning / magical slashing, because there's a number of ways that grass type moves damage people. Normal is just all non-magical attacks. Like, that's all it is. Scratch is like, you know what I mean? Scratch is like just a regular scratch. Like, that's all it is. So normal type moves are just non-magical damage types. Rock is bludgeoning. Like, no shit. Dark is necrotic. I thought that made a lot of sense, just thematically. Fairy is radiant. I think that makes the most sense for Fairy. Flying is force, because usually it's wind, and wind is just like, force damage. Ground is also bludgeoning. I'm tired of pretending rock and ground aren't the same thing, just different shapes. Poison is poison. Surprise there. Steel is magical slashing damage. Dragon I put as thunder. We already have lightning. There's no sound type for damage, and dragon really needs its own damage type. So, thunder it is. Fighting is also bludgeoning. Magical bludgeoning, though. No, actually, nope, that's non-magical bludgeoning, because punches are non-magical and bludgeoning. So, makes a lot of sense there. Ghost is necrotic. I can't think of anything more ghost than necrotic damage. Ice is cold damage. Dodoy. Psychic is psychic damage. Again, Dodoy. Now here's where things get interesting. I put down water as acid damage, because there's no way there's not something else going on with that water, for you to be able to blow bubbles at another Pokemon and for it to physically harm them. That out of the way. Let's start with number 1. We're going to go into here. It's okay, though. We all make mistakes, don't we? Just some more than others. So right here, we've got our picture of Bulbasaur. Beautiful. Step 1 complete. Now we're going to pick a font. I've grabbed a couple. We want this one. We're using Mr. Eves. Is what we're using. Gonna make it nice and big.
That's what he said.
Number 1, Bulbasaur. Did I spell that right? I did. Of course I know how to spell Bulbasaur. I'm the best. Bulbasaur. His name is up there. And we're gonna rename this. We're gonna rename our layers today, because it's good practice. Gotta rename your layers. Cool. Under Bulbasaur's name, we are going to put down his size. He's not person-sized, so he's small. And we're gonna define him as a beast. Easy peasy. And his alignment, we're going to go unaligned. Unaligned for all of them. They don't have an alignment. Wild Pokemon are wild Pokemon. They don't really have a a mission in life. They're not trying to cause or prevent harm against other people. They're doing what other Pokemon, I suppose. They're doing whatever their nature tells them to do. So small beast unaligned. This already looks very nice. Move me down there. That'd be cool. And then you don't have to see my stupid layers. That's cool. Yeah, now you can see up there that we have something going on. So that's cool. Next thing. So next thing, our armor class. I have a point system here. I figured out the ratios. Kinda. So basically, all the stats go by a 20-point system, right? In Dungeons and Dragons. However, in Pokemon, they go up to like the highest stat I'm seeing here is 255 as base stats. So I found the highest and lowest base stat of every single stat in the game. Subtracted the lowest from the highest and divided by 20. Rounding, of course, to the nearest one. And so basically, what I've got here is basically a ratio. I don't think you can see that very well. It's basically a ratio of how many it takes to make 1 point in any given stat for D&D. And so it's kind of what we're working with here is that, and so what are we looking at here? What was I doing? I'm looking at armor class, of course. Armor class, we're going to go... Oops, almost forgot to rename my layers. Size / alignment. Cool. So we're going to start on that little section there. Do we want to draw a line? 5 pixels. 5 pixels right there. Perfect. And then we got that. We've got our image here. And we're going to keep it in that space there. So we're going to end the line right before the edge of the image. Kind of like it's like a combination of a Pokédex entry and is what I'm going for here. Armor class. We're going to do that. They are defending themselves against physical attacks with armor class, right? So that is directly connected to defense and speed, of course. So I'm combining those two numbers. So let's take a look at Bulbasaur. According to my chart, base stat 49 defense, and 49 defense is 12-1. So we're looking at 4 defense so far, and base speed, and we're going to say 4. So this thing's armor class is only 8 because it's a freaking Bulbasaur, and I'm sure you can punch it real easy. I have a lot of faith in anybody's ability to kick a Bulbasaur's ass in a fist fight. Right, hit points are actually very easy because the base HP stat, the hit points are absolutely 1-to-1. There's no reason they can't be. Hit points 45. This is a tough guy. Our next stat is speed. Move speed. I think we just half it. And round up. Because Regieleki moving 100 feet in 6 seconds wouldn't be insane in D&D. It would be fast as hell, but he is fast as hell. That's like his whole thing. So we're going to do 25 feet. And that seems reasonable given his stubby little legs. And now we get to do our actual stats. And so strength is directly attack. It's 9-1. Bulbasaur's base attack is 49, which puts him at 6. Oh man. Yeah, these it makes a lot of sense though, doesn't it? So that would be, if 10 is 0, -1, -2. Puts him at a -2 for strength. Could be worse. Our next stat is dexterity. And we've already we've got his speed, but this directly affects his agility, like the time it takes him to attack. So dexterity and speed. Speed is a 10-1. He's a 45, puts him at 4.5. We're gonna put that at 5. Easy peasy. Again, this is just like a baby Pokemon. You're not going to be dealing in positive numbers yet, if ever. You could definitely get there. We'll definitely get there. We'll see what happens with the next one. Anyway, the next stat that we're looking at is Constitution. Let's take this. Constitution. It's 45. And I have that as, oh my god, 13. 13 points. That's a lot. That's a lot. We're using intelligence whenever they have to use spells, which I'll get to in a minute. Basically, the spells are magical attacks, so I guess not too much to explain there. 8. He's got an 8 in intelligence. That's better. That's better. Intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are going to be good ones for him. These last ones here, they're good ones. Not necessarily. His special attack and special defense are exactly the same. Wisdom and charisma are always going to be the same for the Pokemon because that's just special defense. I think ooh, wait a minute. Before we move on, we need to capitalize the rest of these. See, yeah, overall, I think this is pretty good. Moving forward, we've got our next section. Saving throws. What are Bulbasaur's highest stats? I've got a really good idea. So what I'm going to look at here, I'm going to divide it so that I know what their proficiency bonus is. And like I said, it'll still stay with the level 1-to-1, evolution stage 1-to-1. So we're going to give him, he only gets 1, right? So it's got to be nature. Nature. Oh. I'm stupid. Skills. Nature. And so nature is an intelligence skill. And so that's going to be -1. Yeah. So that's +2 for nature checks. And that's how we're doing this. I know that that's not traditionally how you figure out, like, on a character, how things work for them. Perception. Passive perception is 9. It's not as low as it could have been. We'll probably see some pretty low passive perception with these other stars. But number 1, Bulbasaur. He's got a 9 in passive perception. Wow. Languages, none. He speaks Bulbasaur. He speaks Pokemon. Isn't that a thing? Yeah, Pokemon can talk to each other, but not to their languages. And they can understand common. And then understands common, speaks can speak and even read. We're going to make up a new one. Pokemon. Because I don't think Bestial will work. I don't think that'll work. Because I can't imagine Bulbasaur could talk to a bear. Abilities. Okay, basically, I forgot that entire section. That's my bad. I'm stupid. So Bulbasaur is grass and poison type, which we're gonna write down. We're gonna write down here. Okay, got vulnerabilities. Fire, cold, flying and psychic. Looks like flying and psychic. Yes. Flying is force, and psychic is psychic. Easy peasy there. Resistance is where we get a bunch. We're going to put that as immunity. So immune to magical bludgeoning and slashing. Only magical, though. That's where it gets interesting. They specify non-magical, but never magical, do they? Because that's basically if it's a quarter or lower damage that would be taken, it's none. It's none. We're not doing a quarter damage. Grass is grass. It don't take no damage from grass. But it is strong against, resistant to, water, electric, fighting, and fairy. So, acid, lightning, non-magical bludgeoning. So no bludgeoning damage at all. Don't throw punches. Don't do shit. And fairy. So radiant. Radiant? Is that how I spell it? Radiant. Yeah, it's radiant. Radiant damage. So we're resistant to those, immune to this, and vulnerable to that. Easy peasy. Grass poison type. So now we're looking at innate spell casting. Okay. So what do we got here? How are we going to figure out what level each spell should be? Well, first of all, Tackle's not a spell. And we're going to go here, we're going to say Growl. Actually, we made it wide for a reason. Let's use that space. Growl. And let's see. He's got Leech Seed as well. So let's take a look at that. Leech Seed has PP of 10. 10 per day. $10 per day each. And let's see. Leech Seed. Because we're going to go through and we're going to make all of these into, basically into D&D spells. So we've got Leech Seed and we've got Vine Whip. Now, Vine Whip you can use 25 times, which again kind of puts it into the cantrip section. Oops. Vine Whip. 25 times too many. I say 15 or more. Too many. So we got 10 a day for Leech Seed. Move it down below Leech Seed because it makes sense in order. Its spell save DC is 9. And there we go. Simple as that. So we've got another thing to add in here before we get to attacks, which is tackle. So here we have Overgrow. And this is basically just it's increased by 10. Easy peasy. So that's Overgrow, that's innate spellcasting, grass and poison. And then we're gonna look at actions. And so now this says tackle. And tackle, how much damage does tackle do? And then on a hit, we're going to max at 35, right? So, or something around that. Like, if we were to look at our dice, we have 10. You could do 3d10. I don't think that's a very good idea. We don't get very close to our number. Our goal number is 35. So tackle 35. We're gonna do. How can we do this? If we do 4d8, that gets us to 32. That'll get us pretty damn close. 4d8 minus 2, because our strength is very low. And this is a strength-based attack. So we're doing +1 to hit. We're doing 4d8 minus 2, which is a lot of damage. Yeah, we've got basically all the information that we need. Now, all we need to do is we need to compile a list. We don't need this anymore. We need to compile a list of spells. So we're kind of looking at kind of making a. Okay, so we're gonna open up this. We're gonna be making a couple of these. So we're looking at Scaly Sands. We're gonna look at 72-point font. And we're going to say, oops, hey man, we're going to say grass moves. So first we're looking at casting time at a creature you can see within range. Take. It's not a lot. It's 1d6. That's pretty much it. Let's take this and let's shrink it down. So we're gonna want it to be half that size. And the idea here is we're gonna make this work. And we got grass moves page 1 started. I'd like to center this so it doesn't look so stupid. What the fuck? Sorry about that, guys. Adobe just crashed on me, so I had to recreate this from scratch. And I also decided we're not going to make a big fancy page for the spells. I'm just going to put them in a Google Doc and use that. So we've got Leech Seed. The next spell I'm going to do is Vine Whip. And then this one's a power of 45. This one's a power of 45. The fact that this is effectively a cantrip for Bulbasaur makes this devastating. So we got to 34 with D8s. If we want to make it to 45, I say, well, it would be pretty simple. It'd be 5d8. I think 5d10 is what we're gonna do. 5d10 plus your yeah, 5d10, and that's again bludgeoning damage. And it's simple as that. It's an attack spell, that's all it is. And so we're going to make a new section for normal type moves. Because I said that normal type moves were all non-magical.
I lied.
Growl is a little different. Just because of the way it interacts with other things. So now that we finished up all of our spells, we're going to go in here. We're gonna add a section. That's what we're gonna do. Cool. So we got a little line here on evolving, which is a very important thing in Pokemon. So basically what's going to happen is just at any time, the DM can decide to just evolve Bulbasaur. That's it. It's simple as that. I'm not going to do experience points or whatever and leveling up. This is just kind of up to the DM. Whenever the DM sees fit to evolve, it evolves. I mean, because there's all kinds of different methods by which Pokemon can evolve. Stones, trading, blah, blah, blah. All kinds of things that you just don't do in Dungeons and Dragons. So, with that, we have finished up our first ever Pokemon stat block for D&D. Of course, happy with Bulbasaur. Our next Pokemon is going to be, obviously, Ivysaur. We're going down the National Dex list. So, that'll be very interesting. Anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.